For this video, I want to show how you can plan out a great trip to Lisbon, including the not-to-be-missed city of Sintra.
To cover it all, I'll share an itinerary that spans about 4 to 5 days. Lisbon is one of the fastest growing travel destinations, and it's no wonder why. It offers history, architecture, great weather, culture, food. The list just goes on and on.
I had an incredible time when I visited, and I highly recommend you make it a priority for your next trip. Here's a quick overview of what to expect.
I'll kick things off by covering the city's major central attractions. For the balance of the time in Lisbon, I'll discuss heading west along the waterfront and later visiting the city's historical castle and main cathedral. I'll also cover how to best explore Sintra to see its palaces and beautiful coastlines, and share some additional ideas if you happen to have extra time.
Stick around to the end. I'll show you a place that's off the beaten path that has great views of the city and was once suitable for a dictator. So with that said, let's get to it.
First off, where to stay. High-end accommodations are close to the Principal Real area. Another great option is staying in or around Barrio Alto. This will be a more lively and bohemian part of the city. Alfama offers a slower pace and a more traditional vibe and is famous for its narrow streets. Other areas that are generally well located include the central district of Baixo and the Belém area further to the west. I stayed near Barrio Alto, which served as a nicely centralized location and offered a great terrace view.
Assuming you don't arrive too late, plan to take your first day as a walking tour of the central part of the city.
I recommend starting at the top of the hill at Parque Eduardo VII. Walk your way down to the waterfront. This park is frequented by tourists and locals alike and offers great views of the city. The total distance of the walk is just over 3 kilometers. You'll have an opportunity to enjoy the leafy streets of Avenida de Libertad that features numerous cafes and high-end retail. From there, stop at Rocio Square. This is one of the liveliest places in the city and offers a great opportunity to relax while taking in the waved cobblestone patterns. From there, it's a quick walk to Carmel Convent, which started as a monastery in 1398 and has since suffered considerable damage from a series of earthquakes over the years. Take some time to tour the ruins. To end your day, head to the Baixo area. This is the historic heart and commercial center of Lisbon with its iconic neoclassical architecture built after the 1755 earthquake. You'll have an opportunity to take the Santa Rosa lift, which dates back to 1902. It offers some great views and will connect you to bustling, pedestrianized streets lined with restaurants and souvenir shops. Stroll down the main street, Rua Augusta, which will take you under the arch and into the central commercial plaza. Public Plaza is a great place to take in the sunset over the Tugas River.
For your first full day, I would recommend exploring the western side of the city.
Start at Jerónimos Monastery. This is one of the major attractions, so consider getting tickets in advance. The Church of Santa Maria is unique in that it's a single nave held up by 6 columns. Right across the way is the National Palace, which serves as the presidential palace. As you head to the waterfront, you'll encounter 2 major landmarks. First is the Monument of the Discoveries. Located along the river where the ships departed to explore and trade with India and the Orient, the monument celebrates the Portuguese Age of Discovery during the 15th and 16th centuries. Further to the west is the Belém Tower. This is one of the most recognizable sites in Portugal. This fortress dates back to 1519 and was constructed to defend Lisbon. Its style is the most representative of Portuguese late Gothic and features complex decorative styles on windows and arches. As you return along the waterfront, you'll find the 25th of April Bridge. When settling on a design, inspiration clearly comes from the Bay Area, and rightfully so. Both cities have significant seismic activity, and it's best to go with a proven design. Inspiration also came across the world for the adjacent shrine to Christ, the King, after Lisbon's cardinal returned from a trip to Rio. For the balance of the day, you're close to a number of options. If you want to tour a former palace for the royal family, you can find the Juda National Palace, about a 20-minute walk to the north from the waterfront. There's also a number of museums in the area, including the Museum of Art, Architecture, and Technology, which is now housed in a former riverside power plant, as well as museum options that focus on Asian art and Renaissance Catholic art. Another option to consider is shopping. A popular location in the area is the Elux Factory. This is a historical industrial complex that has been recently repurposed to house an array of arty retailers and unique restaurants.
For your final day in Lisbon, I recommend checking out the eastern side. For this, you should take tram 28 to your first destination.
Riding the historic tram is a classic experience but suffers from over-tourism. It's best to ride early and take in all the sights without issue. Depending on where you're coming from, starting at the viewpoint Senhora do Monte may be the best choice. There's also a few nearby churches to check out, including the Church of Our Lady of Grace that dates from the 13th century. You'll be walking downhill from there, and the overall plan covers about 3 kilometers. Once you've had a chance to take in the view, I recommend heading down to the Alfama district. On the eastern side, you'll find the National Pena and its beautiful dome. Admission allows for access to the terrace, which offers amazing views. From there, find your way through the labyrinth of streets as you work your way to the west. This may be a great opportunity to stop for lunch. Consider returning to this area later to experience fado music, a type of Portuguese singing traditionally associated with pubs and cafes. It's renowned for its excessive and profoundly melancholic character. Also, make sure to take in the views that overlook the area. I found a small restaurant near the Santa Luzia overlook that did not disappoint. Next is Sao Jorge Castle. This is an 11th century hilltop Moorish castle and royal residence, featuring palace ruins and an archaeological museum. There's evidence that the hilltop has been occupied since the 8th century BC. Finally, as you head back towards the city, make sure to stop over at the Lisbon Cathedral. This is the oldest church in the city and is famous for its stained glass windows and is comprised of a mix of different architectural types due to having to survive numerous earthquakes. As you wrap up your day, you'll be close to many restaurants. You could also elect for a tour or experience. One option you could sign up for is an evening of sailing. I ended up doing a wine tasting event where I had a chance to sample some uniquely Portuguese grape varietals. No trip to Lisbon is complete without an excursion to Sintra to see Pena Palace. It will take about 45 minutes to get there from Lisbon. Your options to get around include booking a tour to simplify the logistics, purchasing a train and bus combo ticket, or using tuk-tuks or taxis to get around. If you have one day, you'll have to be selective on what you do. Start at Pena Palace. Note that you can book times in advance to go inside, as it is the most visited palace in Portugal, famous for its many colors and romanticist style. You'd never guess that it was designed by a German mining engineer. After you've had a chance to take in all the sights of the palace, walk downhill through a beautiful park that connects over to the Moorish Castle. Plan to take 60 to 90 minutes to tour the castle, which dates back to the 10th century. Afterwards, head to town for lunch and an opportunity to see the National Palace of Sintra with its odd white conical towers. These are enormous chimney stacks built in the 14th century to vent the kitchen fires. Today, you can stand beneath them and look up inside of them. In the afternoon, head out to Quinta da Regaleira, most famous for the initiation wells that never served as water sources. Their purpose was for ceremonial initiation rites by the Freemasons and Knights Templar. In one instance, you'll find yourself taking a trail of stones through a pond. Needless to say, this is a fascinating place and shouldn't be missed. The main palace's facade can only be described as exorbitantly Gothic and constructed by a wealthy Brazilian and completed in 1910. To give you an idea of the overall proximity, all these sites can be walked within about 3 hours, including going from and to the train station. Finally, consider continuing to the coast to see Cabo da Roca Lighthouse. This is the westernmost point of Europe and great for seeing the sunset. This can be reached by bus 403 and will take you on to Cascais, where you can take a train back to Lisbon. If you have a second day, plan on visiting the chalet of the Countess of Edna. This is constructed by King Fernando II for his second wife. The building's inspiration comes from her home country of Switzerland. Getting there requires a tuk-tuk or taxi. The walls are interesting because they're made of cork, which grows in abundance in the area. Cork is peeled from trees and is fully sustainable. It's kind of like shearing sheep. Next is the Palace of Montserrat, which features unique Islamic-style architecture, and the corridor is inspired by the Alhambra Palace in Granada, one of my all-time favorites. Its garden takes advantage of the mountain's microclimates to support over 3,000 exotic species. From there, take the afternoon at the beach. It's only a 15-minute ride to the popular beaches. Aga Beach features hidden beaches and caves on the south side and a dramatic cliff cutting into the ocean. Macas Beach is also close to town with some restaurant options. Note if you have a car, parking can be very difficult during summer weekends. If you have extra time, I'd suggest visiting the Quelas National Palace and Gardens en route between Sintra and Lisbon. The palace is Portugal's answer to France's Versailles. Another option is to take the day and explore Cascais, which is a popular coastal resort town known for its sandy beaches and busy marina. The old town is home to a medieval fort and a citadel palace, a former royal retreat. In terms of when to visit, aside from the winter, there really isn't a bad time of year. If you intend on getting in the water, you'll have to go in the summer. This is the most popular time of year to go when the days are long and sunny, but it can be quite warm and you'll have to deal with large crowds. As for a budget, I'd recommend provisioning between $1,400 and $1,950 for 2 with a 4-night stay at a nice hotel and full-service restaurants.
As promised, here's a final place that you should consider visiting, Panoramic de Monsanto.
This restaurant opened in 1968 with a 360-degree view of the city. It only lasted for 2 years though, and since 2017 has been a viewpoint that features a number of art installations.
Lisbon also serves as a great jumping off point to extend your travels to many other destinations,
such as the northern city of Porto, the southern beaches of the Algarve, or the Atlantic islands of the Azores.
Make sure to check out my other content on where to go next. If you found this video to be helpful, please like and subscribe. I love your comments, and if this video wasn't perfect for you, stay tuned. Hopefully the next one will be.